Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Code Remix Weekly. I'm your usual host, Ham. Sam. I'm your usual host, Sam. I sometimes have Ham. Um, and apparently, I'm struggling to speak today. It's because I'm so distraught by the absence of my usual co host, Tim, who is busy at Devox Belgium. So if you are in Belgium, go say hi to Tim there, or maybe just go to their website and play with this cool little liquid fire thing they got going on, following after the mouse. That's fun. More conference websites should do that. I have to put in a ticket for someone to add that to our conference website because of course Code Remix number 2 ever is coming up in Miami in May of this year. I've been seeing the RFPs of people proposing talks coming across the old email list, and there's some good ones in there. So if you want to check those out or submit an RFP of your own, check out coderemix.ai, and hopefully I'll see you in Miami in May. And of course, we have our regular open rewrite trainings that are available. The next session in October for the basic class is coming up, October 21st. Let's see, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll probably be one of the teachers for that one, as that's not at some awful early in the morning European time. And then shortly thereafter, we have an advanced training coming up. So consider registering for both in sequence if you're wanting to brush up on your open rewrite. No new release of Open Rewrite this week. Probably very soon, though. We've had a lot of good bug fixes come in, so look forward to that soon. And with no co-host to banter with, it's time to get right on to our guest today. He is a Java champion, community manager. He is. I was given this great, really like long-winded bio for him that called him an experienced DevRel marketing and product management expert with a track record of building, growing, and nurturing tech communities that focus on awareness, adoption, and advocacy. And he said that was much too long and preferred a more humble introduction. But I thought it was kind of funny. So welcome to the stage, Shar. How you doing?
I'm doing great, boy. That was a lot of words. All that meant is my entire existence is to try and make developers a better version of themselves. And I think I'll go for the shorter bio next time,
Yeah.
just to save on character spaces because we all like efficient code and less lines of code. But
Oh, for sure.
thank you for having me, and hopefully I'll do justice now that Tim
Yeah.
isn't here. I mean, Tim is at Devox having fun. I think it's what they're probably at the attendee party right now, mingling
Probably.
or trying to, as they say, forge strong relationships, or I call it having a beer.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean that's often the starting point for strong relationships. Absolutely. So how did you get involved? How did you become the make developers better guy?
Yeah, so just a little bit of background, at least for me, I'm unlike most of your audience, or maybe
Sure.
I'm like a very small subset of your audience. I mean, my introduction to tech came through my parents. My father worked at Boeing for almost 25 years. My mother was at NASA helping with the
Very
space
cool.
shuttle program for almost 25 years. And what did I go do? I studied third world economics.
Oh, cool.
So I was totally not geeking on their imprinting. But when I entered the workforce, I started working for a telco. Some people might remember a company called Bell Atlantic. It's now known as
Mm-hmm.
Verizon. They
Mm-hmm.
paid for my master's program, which was great. Then they had me do a job rotation through their mobile unit. And they're like, well, you have a knack for understanding business concepts and technical concepts. I'm like, thank you.
Sure. I get. Yeah. If you say so.
Sure. They had me apprentice there for extended period for about 24 months. The next thing I know, I'm taking coding classes at night. My
Cool.
CTO, I guess as you call it now, is like, this is really your DNA. You should do this as a career. Um, which was fantastic because that was the mid 90s. And
Good
as we
time.
all
Good
know,
time to
mid
get into
90s is,
tech.
yeah, and mid 90s is when Java sort of came around, and we were invited to come to Java One as a company, and I attended. I was trying to learn what this four-lettered language was. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what's Java? I mean, I thought it was a cup
Yeah.
of coffee. And
Yeah.
the next thing
Yeah.
Sun Microsystems is knocking on my door 2 years later to come and join their advocacy team, their learning team, their tooling team. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to pack up my bags, move west, and I've made it a career. I did programming for a fair bit of time in
Hmm.
quality assurance and testing, and then it got more into curriculum development,
Yeah.
advocacy, as I call it, making developers better versions of themselves. So like
Uh-huh.
training material and blueprints and
Yeah.
courseware, and then of course conferences, and
Yeah.
that that entire thing is literally what I work on day in, day out. And don't tell my boss this, but I love what I do. Uh,
Yeah, if he finds that out, he could be like, I could probably pay him less, and he would still want to do this job. So yeah, don't
uh,
tell anyone that, particularly not on a live stream.
yeah, but I do. I mean, it's truly. I like what I do. I love who I meet. Technology is one of those things where you sit behind a screen all day, and
Hmm.
you understand its value from a utility standpoint. But when you start making connections and relationships with people that are using it, it makes you a better version of you. So
Yeah,
I was like what you guys are doing at Moderna with use cases and best practices and lunch and learns and workshops. Um, you're basically helping other people reach their summit,
yeah,
and there's an unspoken reward to that. I,
absolutely.
I don't
I
know how
often
you feel, because I've seen some of your courses online, and
sure.
I don't know what sort of like gives you motivation, but when you get those
Yeah,
accolades of you helped me through something, it just
yeah.
kind of it uplifts you.
Oh, absolutely. It's very motivating to hear that. Before I got into working on developer tools, I was on just like a product development team. I was at Tableau Software making data analysis and visualization stuff. I was very on board with the mission of that company of like, let's make it easier to understand data so that people can make their decisions based upon something real and empirical, as opposed to if you don't have that, what do you have left to fall back on except hunches, what you wish would be true, right? And we could all use better decision making in the world. So I was on board with that. But after I joined, I wasn't working on the core visualization product, which I didn't like have any background in data visualization, so that wasn't weird that I wasn't working on that. I was on the team for people. Okay, so people could share their visualizations around the organization that they're in, and that's well and good. But I was down on the server administration team, which was just about like updating and keeping it highly available and collecting logs and helping if something if it went down, which is all good stuff. But I didn't know any actual Tableau server administrators, so when I would fix something that I hadn't been asked to fix, like a problem with the build or the developer tooling, and someone I actually knew would be like, "Oh, thank you. That was such a pain in the ass for me up until now." And that problem with the build was just a constant annoyance for me. I was like, "Oh, that felt way better to fix that than to do whatever my boss was actually asking me to work on at the time." And so I just veered more and more into working on developer tooling and developer happiness. And I think of what we do at Modern and with Open Rewrite as like automating the tedium out of software development, right? There's all of these like rote mechanical tasks of like, bump the version of the dependency, replace the deprecated method with the slightly different one that's, a way better API for some reason. Thanks API designer, I had to shuffle things around for, no reason, no good reason so far as the person who's doing their 5,000th, little change of the day to try to get a minor version up might feel. So yeah, that's kind of the angle that I came to this from. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's it's incumbent upon us as practitioners to invest in ourselves, and that's why I appreciate when companies have learning content first and foremost. But
yeah,
when you invest in community activities, ecosystem activities, that's really another level to the learning experience. But more importantly, and why I'm so, I guess, purposeful with Java is the ethos has been this contributory model
mm-hmm,
where the end user, the practitioner, the developer has a say in its future. And so
mm-hmm,
that can come from many angles. Like some of the best advocacy we have for Java isn't from us on the Java team, it's from people that find purpose and passion for it, that want to share their knowledge, share their best practice, share their experience. But then on the flip side, just based on how Java operates as a technology, we're basically letting the driver of the car help design it. Like we want
yeah,
the input, the feedback, the ideas, like what direction should we be going in? Where should we be taking a certain investment in terms of the next set of features, the next generation of innovation? And when you make the participant an active partner in shaping the design of the car, they're going to want to drive it more aggressively and for a longer period of time. And
Yeah,
that's ultimately what we want with Java is to
sure.
to future-proof careers for developers. So they know we're investing in them, and then B, they have longevity in something that's going to not just have results for the company they work for, it's going
Hmm.
to have career value for them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No one wants to feel like they're buying into a dead ecosystem. Although I have met a 29-year-old COBOL developer at a big bank who was like, yeah, I mean they're there's no way they're getting off this COBOL code base anytime soon. My job is safe, and indeed I'm going to be paid a premium for working in this dead ecosystem. You know, dead. Yeah, yeah, I totally hear that, and it called to mind the movie Ford versus Ferrari. Did you ever see that movie?
What one of my favorites? I absolutely watch that religiously whenever I get a chance.
Religiously.
Oh, it's well anything with cars. I
Yeah.
mean, again, parents working on planes and
And cars are the planes
spaceships.
of the ground. I'm always
Yeah,
saying it.
yeah, for sure. Like if I can tinker and watch car movies, I do it all day.
All right, all right, yeah. So that just had a great sequence of them improving the engineering and aerodynamics of their car by bringing in an expert driver
Yep.
to test it. As indeed, oh, we got a question from Lauren. What's your favorite car?
Oh, my favorite car in the world is a 1968 Mustang Mach 1.
Mm.
I actually have a Mustang GT in my garage, which my son and daughter and I tinkered with. We put some Brembo brakes on it. We put an X pipe underneath the chassis for the exhaust system. We put a cold air intake under the hood. I'm a Mustang pony muscle car guy through and through.
All right. That's fun. Uh, that have you gotten any component of that car to run Java?
No. I could take out the infotainment system and
Yeah,
tinker with it, but
yeah.
I have a very good colleague of mine, Simon Ritter, who's a Java champion. He's out there in England. He's probably at Devox also.
Oh, he's
Um,
ahead of Tim.
but he at one point had an Audi 8 S3 station wagon, and he pulled out the infotainment system and ran Java on it. And so I probably have to take some notes from crib sheets from him. And then he went on to go, work with his son to rebuild a original Mini Cooper. So yeah, my sphere of friends and colleagues are all gearheads.
All right. I
So
thought there's
shout out
definitely
to you, Simon
overlap.
Ritter.
Nice. I'm sure he's watching. Yeah, we have a lot of car guys watch this podcast on the regular. They don't. They don't. At
Yeah.
least not to my knowledge. I guess if you're a car guy, shout out in the in the comments and let us know what what cars you like to work on and tinker with. That's fun. But there's definitely overlap, you know, in the mindset of someone who works on a car and someone who does
Yep.
computer programming. You need to be thinking about the inputs and outputs to each component, whether it's data or torque or exploding gas, as the case may be. Uh,
You
yeah.
know, I always I try to align and there's definitely analogies that fit uh both sides of those use cases. And I look at it from a car and application needs to be performant, needs to be stable, needs to be secure.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if you can nail down performance, security, and stability, you're doing something right, whether it's your car or your application. And I know most decision makers, most people that are running their business, they don't want things to be broken down in production. They want things to be stable. They don't want to touch it, but at
For
the same
sure.
time, they want to stay on the edge of innovation and ensure performance is maximized. And that's literally some of the three of the core tenets for Java is
Hmm.
we want it to be performant, we want it to be stable, we want it to be secure, so individuals can go build performant, stable, secure applications.
Yeah, if the foundation you're building atop hasn't taken those things into account, it's gonna be really difficult to retrofit it later.
Yeah, it's really hard. Um, but one thing that I think technology always demonstrates to us is that evolution will happen regardless.
Yep.
Either you adapt incrementally,
Hmm.
or you will face challenges when you wait too long. It's kind of like, and I was trying to teach this to my daughter when she was getting her driver's license. Like, you really need to pay attention to those tires.
Hmm.
Like, pay attention to how it's handling. Look at the tread wear. Make sure the sidewalls are stable. Because even if you feel like the car is running fine, there's going to be a point where those tires will fail
Yeah. They're guaranteed to fail eventually, and they
eventually.
are the only interface point between you and the road. The
And the
only
road.
place that you have control is via that interface. So if
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with that, nothing
Yeah.
else could possibly
Well,
compensate for it.
right. And think about it. Like, our applications are the only thing between us and the end user. So if we're not making sure that application isn't performant for that end user, isn't stable
Yeah.
for that isn't end user, isn't secure for that end user, if it fails, it's going to be materially catastrophic, and not just for the end user, but for your business. And
Sure.
that's why I think we make better decisions when we let the participants be part of the design and decision making,
Yeah.
because then it starts to meet their needs, and then we are also evolving along the way. We're not just staying
Hmm.
stagnant. And
Hmm.
that's, for me in the Java space, I was looking at some stats recently. I think I have them here. 2 years ago, so in 2023, based on measurements from a study we did, there were little over 60 billion active JVMs, and
Okay.
about 40 billion cloud-based JVMs. And then this past year, when we ran the study, it's up to 73 billion active JVMs and 51 billion cloud-based JVMs. And that's about 16% to 20% growth, which tells me that
That's quite a few.
like the utility in Java and growth for Java in the enterprise space, whether you're small, medium, large, is still expanding. And
Hmm.
um, I was trying to have this conversation with a very non-Java audience a couple of weeks ago when I told them that Java just turned 30. I mean, we celebrated 30 years of Java this past May, and they're like, 30? Like, that's really old. Like, they equated the number to age. And I tried to flip the script a bit. It's like, it's 30 years young, because as long as you stay innovative and start mapping to like future needs and what evolving use cases are, there's
Hmm.
no there's no age dependency on what you're using.
Sure.
You got to adapt, you got to evolve, you got to increment, you got to release often, and make features available
A couple
quickly.
a
Like,
couple weeks
it's
ago, I
crazy.
was talking with my co-host Tim about Kotlin and its language features relative to Java. And one thing we observed in a couple cases, the feature of doing a smart typecast after you have a conditional that checks if a variable is a foo. Well, then
What?
within the brackets, it's autocast to a foo. We pointed out that Java had waited a little bit longer than Kotlin, and then introduced a very similar version of that feature that solved a few problems that Kotlin's version did not. That it had taken the time to let people run out and experiment with things and be like, yes, I'll take that one, but I'm gonna solve this additional problem, or I'm going to avoid this pitfall, and
Yep.
finding a balance point
But
between innovation and building something to last.
yeah, so Sam, you've, without even knowing it, you touched on something that we call our tip and tail model, which is
Hmm.
foundational to how we develop Java, which
Tip and
is
tail. This is my first
tip
time hearing that.
tip and tail. Yeah. So I oftentimes, and many of us oftentimes, borrow this quote from Brian Getz, who's our chief language designer, which is "last leader advantage." So
Yeah.
it's very easy to be on the cutting edge and innovate, but
Yeah.
is it something that's going to be long lasting and solve as broad a number of challenges, issues, or opportunities in as many use cases as possible, without also disrupting your existing ecosystem? And like, we're
Hmm.
talking in the Java space, 10, 12,
Hmm.
13 million Java developers, depending on which survey you look at. But
Yeah.
when you're in the seven digits, and when you're talking about tens of thousands of businesses that are running Java applications at scale, And oh, by the way, just the sheer number of billions of JVMs that are running out there, you don't want to disrupt what's working. So
Right.
any net new innovation needs to be thoughtfully introduced so it doesn't break existing investments. And so that's like a really fine balancing act in terms of our tip and tail. For sure, there's innovation happening on the edge, and developers are ready to pick that innovation up if they need to. But if you want to focus on a Java release and just keep that in production, because if it's just working and you don't want to change anything, and
Sure.
if it's not broken, don't shake
If
don't
it's
shake
not
things
broken,
up.
don't break it.
Don't break it. We want every organization to have flexibility and options in that regard. And truth be told, it puts a target on our back. That
Sure.
absolutely does, and we appreciate that. We want to understand what we're doing right. We also want to understand where we need to accelerate. But at the end of the day, when we introduce features into Java, we want it to feel natural. We want to feel
Yeah.
normal. We want to feel like it was always there and
Yeah.
not feel like something that is disruptive that's going to take me 1, 2, 3 years to understand how to actually implement it in real world production situations.
Yeah, and if someone suggests a new language feature that looks a little too weird, like a strange, string interpolation sort of thing, maybe that JEP goes back in the oven for a little while, and you
Well,
do
hey,
another iteration on it.
right. Well, and there's the beauty, right? Like, again, you're bringing up our open JDK community. We absolutely want every Java developer to at least go visit openjdk.org. There are dozens and dozens of projects trying to solve very unique challenges and use cases and opportunities that we're all facing. Whether it's making Java less verbose and more concise and more readable, working with interoperating with native libraries, making Java more data oriented. So Java's been great at code optimization. We want it to
Hmm.
also be very good with data optimization. I'm not talking about Project Valhalla. We want to make sure that there's very low latencies in terms of garbage collection, so working with terabyte heaps and
Hmm.
still not losing any momentum in terms of your application performance. I mean, these are fundamental things that developers can go see what we're doing transparently.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And a lot
you know,
of a lot of what people come to Modern and Open Rewrite for is help to get onto the latest version of Java itself, and of course all of the various libraries
yeah.
that people build on top of Java and with Java to create
Oh,
a very mature
Sam.
ecosystem, which leads to
Yeah.
an
Sit.
internet meme that is now already a little bit out of date. That I wanted to run past you, and also use as kind of a jumping off point for, like, why should people be trying to get onto the latest version of Java? What is there to get excited about in Java 25? Right, this meme is already out of date.
Yeah.
The
I
upper left corner should be talking about Java 25 now.
I
So, like, what's in Java 25 and Java 20 next that the people can developers can be like, oh yeah, I do want that.
Yeah, I remember seeing this when it was not Java 21. It was Java, not even 17, it was 11, and we
Yeah,
were just releasing 17, and then we released 17. It was everyone's like, why should I use Java 21? And now
yeah, yeah.
21, like, first of all, every release of Java is a fully spec standard and specified release. So whether you're going incrementally from version to version, or you're only staying because you're looking for commercial long-term support, that's a
Hmm.
business decision. Every
Hmm.
release is going to have something interesting associated with it. First and foremost, every release of Java has thousands of performance, stability, and security improvements out of the box. Like, it's
Hmm.
not even a named feature. You're just going to get a boost in performance just because of the inherent efficiencies that we've brought into the JDK.
I
But
don't remember exactly when or who it was, but I remember one company we talked to saying that in upgrading from Java 8 to 17, their, like, cloud costs went down by like 15% just because, like, garbage collectors and performance was better. So, like, well, we could just scale down. We didn't need as many instances, or we didn't need as powerful of instances. So just that one thing, changing nothing about our application, had a very measurable impact on our bottom line.
absolutely, it's very true. And oh, by the way, why would you want to be below the security baseline?
For sure. For sure. You're
Like,
only going to get into trouble with that.
and we could go on a tangent. I do want to point out something you did say, Sam, and
Hmm.
this is mission critical for every Java developer, which is beyond just the language and the platform, there is a rich ecosystem of tools, libraries, and frameworks that just lives around us that
Oh yeah, for sure.
we don't have to reinvent and we can take
Hmm.
advantage of. But
Hmm.
at the same time, as much of that is a benefit, you also have to understand what your dependencies are and what that chain
Yeah.
is. And are they upgrading? Are they staying performant? Are they applying the same rigors in terms of security enhancements? And all too often, I think one of the challenges we as developers face is we're inheriting someone else's work.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Right, and then you're picking up all of the dependencies that were decided upon without your involvement, and you're like, what do I do with this? It's so at some point you have to do an evaluation, use the services of companies like yourself to have a thoughtful understanding of what is it that I have here, and do I open Pandora's box or not? And all too often you need to understand what's in it. um,
Yeah.
but to your point, I'm so excited with Java 25. It's got so many features that we can sort of like bucket in terms of language and enhancements, uh, security libraries. We've done some maintenance and cleanup. There's a lot of improvement in terms of performance and runtime enhancements, and then some continuing enhancements in terms of our libraries. Just from a language standpoint, I mean, we've been beating this drum for since Java 10, but Project Amber, which continues to look at making Java more efficient, reducing the
Hmm.
verbosity, making it more readable, writable, but even more importantly, more maintainable.
Yeah.
We've been introducing a catalog of enhancements that map to Amber, such as records and record patterns and switch expressions, and then new in Java 25 is compact source files and instant main methods.
Yep.
Some
Yep.
might know that as JEP 5. Keep me honest, JEP 512. I was trying
I'd
to
love to
remember the
keep you
number.
honest, but I don't have the numbers of the Jeps
Yeah,
memorized. So yeah,
so
that sounds plausible.
yeah, it is JEP 512. But this is an important feature because it not only benefits developers that are new to Java, but existing developers as well, where we're taking out a lot of the boilerplate. With public static void main is like a really tough
It's
concept
a mouthful
for
right there.
it's a tough mouthful, especially if you're a new developer coming in, trying to understand the concepts around the language. And so
Hmm.
with this JEP, it just makes the onboarding experience easier, where a lot of the concepts are removed, or you can use something simple as io.println or printline or print. I don't know what we can flip a coin and use that to write a very quick hello world, but also
Hmm.
for developers that are writing, applications that are small in scale, that are more in the CRUD sort of space. This is going to be a game changer because you're just have so many less lines of code to just get to the thing that you're trying to accomplish, but then you can add those other complex concepts on top of it as your application grows. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. We also are introducing primitive types in patterns and instance of and
That'll
switch,
be
which
nice.
that
Erasing the differences between the primitives and classes is nice.
it
It's this weird little wrinkle you run into
it is.
in programming.
And the thing is, it requires greater thought and effort and participation as many of those who are following our JEPs realize that this specific feature that's in 25 is in its third preview.
Mm,
And so from our standpoint, it's fully specified, it's ready to ship, but we want to make sure it's meeting the needs of as many of the use cases that are out there. And based on our first and second preview, we're still getting extremely meaningful feedback where we're like, you know what, that last 5 yards before making this a generally available and standard feature, we have a little bit more refining to do, but hopefully this will, hopefully
do you have an
soon
example
move.
of some of the refinements to this or any of the other like language features you've talked about that have come out of this process of iterative
Yeah,
community engagement and design and redevelopment?
absolutely. So we were just talking about JEP 512,
Hmm.
right? So this was introduced as a preview feature, and because of the input that we got, there was just a little bit like so originally. this was something where we had to think very long and hard as far as what is the language syntax that feels normal to a developer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that feedback really lent to how this was designed as a now that we've now G8'd it as a fully specified feature in 25.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not to sort of lose momentum, we were both harping on performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I, again, I'm going back to the car
Favorite topic?
mentality,
One
speed.
more thing before we go back to
Yeah,
performance, you
yeah.
touched upon the importance of being terse and concise and not having a bunch of boilerplate where it isn't necessary. So, Lombok, yay or nay?
So I'm a pragmatist. So
Mm-hmm.
you use the tools, use the language, use the platform that makes sense to you. Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's not something I would personally use, but again, I can't discredit someone else's choice if they're finding value in it, nor
Mm-hmm.
nor would I encourage anyone to start creating almost a almost the concept of language wars. Um, like we just don't need it in our space. Everyone has a
Sure.
choice. Choice matters. Your choice is different from my choice. We can agree to disagree, and I just leave it at that. I try to take a very um it's not for me, but it might be for you.
Okay. All right. So we can continue on with what you were going to say about performance then.
Yeah, because otherwise I think the pitchforks would come out and we
Could
would
be good for
have
engagement.
we right like
Which is
that's the
his whole
thing,
own can of worms of like,
I
should you do things just because they're good for engagement? I mean,
yeah, like controversy for the sake of engagement. I don't necessarily I don't aspire to that.
it's
It's
not
like
your cup of tea.
it's
Yeah,
not it's just not my cup of tea. Like, yeah, I've gotten a bit more just accepting as I've matured. How about that? I
sure.
don't know.
Yeah, just you see a potential conflict or fight or someone being wrong on the internet, and you're just like,
You know,
rather than
but
wanting to dive in there yourself.
yeah, the other part is, Sam, if I do participate, I'll come across as old man screaming at cloud. And I just
It's good to have the self awareness to be
yeah.
like what is it if I wade in there, if I open my mouth, what's the consequence of that? What's the actual impact of me doing that? Is it going to help anything or anybody? If
I
not,
don't
why am I putting my energy into
uh,
it?
I mean it's good for watching and observing and eating popcorn, but
Yeah,
it's
this
not
could
it's
be
a whole
entertainment value. Yeah,
there's entertainment and then there's entertainment. It just depends on what grade of entertainment you're looking for. And
hmm
yeah, I you know what I'll save those types of conversations for in-person dialogue over maybe over a cold frothy fermented malted beverage, because I think there's
there you go,
sometimes something a bit more honest about a face-to-face dialogue versus
for sure.
hiding behind my screen.
Yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. Fair
But
enough.
we were talking about performance. It
Yeah,
is definitely something that I'm excited about in every version of Java that we look at. And at least this version of Java, we actually have some named features that are accelerating that. Again, not every feature might map
Mike is
to,
here in the comments now, and he's very excited to see you.
oh, thank you. Is this whole concept of maintainability. So,
hmm
I was using that analogy. You got to watch your tires before they burst. Well,
For sure.
one of the things that we need to do is maintain our applications. And in Java 25, we actually have two specific JFR features, or Java Flight Recorder, which is
hmm
very exciting for, I think, ops teams will
hmm
kind of rally around this, because it's going to enhance observability, things like observability, monitoring, diagnostics of your application. And that's just going to help you tune your engine and refine
Yeah.
it a bit more. And so I really am excited about the cooperative sampling and the method timing and tracing
We had a
features.
really interesting conversation on here maybe a month or two ago with an engineer who was talking about running performance traces in production just as a regular thing they did, so that
Yep.
they always had up to the date and current information on the performance and hot loops and blockages in their application, not from some contrived set of performance tests, but from their actual production workloads.
Yep.
And I thought that was pretty fascinating.
When you can get to that level of where you're taking the temperature of things in real world production and
Hmm.
getting a heat map of what's going on,
Yeah,
you can make such more efficient real time enhancements, updates, changes, whatever you want to call it. And guess what? You just look better to the teams above you because
for sure.
at the end of the day, we're getting measured on our productivity,
Sure.
not just the developers, but the solutions we're delivering for our
Hmm.
company. So
Hmm.
that's great. But when you have complex applications that are relying on different inputs from multiple parts of your organization,
Hmm. Hmm.
just being able to have insight into that view of what's going on underneath the hood and
Hmm.
taking time to actually look at your dashboards
Hmm.
um, just makes you a better developer. So
For
I'm really
sure.
excited about JFR. The other side is just startup time. Like,
Hmm.
I know we can get into a whole debate on this as well, like startup time versus warm up time and what's better than
Uh-huh.
the other. And I
Uh-huh.
think there's a scenario for both. I think it's all dependent on what you're trying to achieve with your application. But for
Hmm.
sure, in our Java space, where we have two features, AOT command line ergonomics and AOT method profiling, which is all really
Hmm.
focused on
What's
start
AOT?
ahead of time.
Oh, ahead of time. Yeah, gotcha.
Ahead,
As opposed to
yeah.
just in time
Oh,
compilation during while it's running. I see.
exactly. And so we want to ensure, and these are all being birthed out of Project Leiden
Hmm.
in OpenJDK. So we want to ensure that where there's applications where startup time is mission critical, we're enabling Java to actually deliver that. And so this is the
Hmm.
first time where we're seeing Leiden come and deliver things focused on startup, which to me is great.
And are some of these startup time improvements available in Java 25, or are these things we're looking forward to in 26 or 27?
These two features are in Java 25.
Nice.
JEP 5, here we go. JEP 515 and 518
Uh-huh.
are the two to look at. But for sure, if you go to openjdk.org, select JDK 25, it will list out those two specific JEPs. I'm so drowning in the JEP numbers that somehow they're starting to be retained in muscle memory.
I mean, you
uh,
have, although I haven't double checked you on those, but you have stated with confidence at
yeah,
least three separate JEP
yeah,
numbers off the top of your head.
yeah.
So
I'm
that's
I'm
pretty good or
I'm
bad, depending on how you
I'm
feel about it.
pretty confident I got main methods right with 512,
Uh-huh.
and then I got the other ones correct too. But if someone's watching and wants to double check my work,
Yeah.
maybe my penalties, I'll send them some Java swag or something like
Oh, good
that.
idea. Good idea. Yeah. All right. Yeah, everyone, if you find Char in a factual mistake, free Java swag.
Yeah, out of my own personal collection, because for sure I got quite the museum of artifacts going.
Yeah, in
The,
this
the,
industry, particularly if you're going
yeah.
to conferences and talking to people, you have a way of just accruing swag and tchotchkes and such.
Yeah, I'm not parting ways with my signed James Gosling Java JavaSoft CD to install Java on your computer. And so
Is that
that's like
Java
what
1.0, Java 2, like
it's 1.2.
1.2? All right.
1.2. It's a signed CD, and I'm just like, I am not someone needs another Java ring. Is that coming from Mark?
That's
Uh
coming from Mark. I think Mark, you're gonna have
okay.
to catch him in a big mistake to
Okay.
get a ring.
Okay. So Mark, for everyone who's watching, Mark Heckler, uh, Java champion, an important part, individual who just joined Modern, has literally built his career on helping other developers become better developers. And no, he did not pay me to say any of this. Mark is one of the most humble members of our Java community. I'm so thankful that A, I had a chance to work with him, B, to be part of him in the community. So, Mark, if you need a second Java ring for that other hand, I think that can be arranged.
All right. You said a lot of nice things about Mark, but I think the real test of how much you trust him is, would you let him fly you in one of his personal airplanes?
Okay, the answer is yes, because my son is in pilot school to become a
Oh,
pilot
cool.
as well. And Mark has been so gracious to offer up if my son ever wanted to fly with him or need him for advice or
Hmm.
input, that he would offer that help and support for my son. And again, another reason why, like, Mark is, I should be giving Mark the Sherpa title because he sure is helping a lot more people than I am.
Very good. Very good. Uh, okay, cool. So with some of these performance enhancements to Java 25 and to the flight recorder, um, yeah, any other kind of like upcoming new features, like anything? I guess
I,
I'm looking for things that people should be excited about Java 25 to upgrade to that, and then things that people should be excited about 26 or 27 so that they want to like stay tuned and stay current.
Well, I think the foreshadowing here is impeccable. So definitely Java 25 because of the performance and runtime enhancements that you're going to get from some of the features that I mentioned, and just the code optimization that you're going to get with the language enhancements. Those are true game changers for every Java developer. But if we're foreshadowing, why would I go from 25 to 26 or 27
Hmm.
or 28? Again, you pointed it out. Just by moving from version to version is a boost in performance out of the box.
Hmm. Hmm.
But there are things we're working on. So we're looking at a world where all things seems to be pointing to AI or cloud or data
I
and
was I was thinking about how LLMs and the usage of LLMs to write code can could be a benefit to incumbent languages where there's lots of training data out there. Like if you're using Claude or something, as many are, I enjoy using it to write new code. It's just going to do a better job on a language where there's a whole bunch of examples in its training data, and it's just going to be that much more difficult for like an upstart language to fully unseat one of the big players for that reason. A little while ago we had on a delightful young engineer who was a big fan of the Rock programming language, and I met some enthusiasts of the Odin programming language and other fun things that I look at their website and I'm like, these are some neat language features. Probably never going to use any of this. Yeah, I wonder how you see the preponderance of Java code that is available out there, and the
yeah,
way that LLMs are coming into the software authoring process as to like how that affects Java. Do you like share my assessment that that might be an
I
advantage to the Java ecosystem?
I share similar opinions. And some of this is speculative, some of this is
Oh,
opinion
absolutely.
generated. But also it's where we're also tracking trends and trying to ensure Java is addressing the ever evolving landscape of use cases. And
Hmm.
AI is introducing that. And so
Hmm.
you're right. Like if you just think about the longevity of 30 years of Java code being out there,
Hmm.
enterprises have myriads of code bases which they want to optimize and take advantage of with new AI tooling. The flip side is LLMs, you want them to generate as accurate and sustainable and relevant Java code as possible. So what is it learning on? And so,
It's true. If it's learning on a lot of Java 4, 5, 6, maybe you don't
right,
want that stuff in the training set. Maybe that
right.
becomes an albatross around its neck if it starts giving you bad suggestions or terrible Stack Overflow answers or other random things people have said that were right at one time.
But what we see also is going back to that extension beyond just the language platform is again just that tooling around us. So for sure, AI applications can benefit from Project Amber with just the code efficiency, or ZGC when it comes to reducing pause times, or Panama working with interoperating with native libraries. Those are all
Hmm.
things that are germane or challenge areas that are part of the AI experience. But you also can take advantage of the tools that are out there. We have LangChain for J, we have Spring AI, we have Embabble. Rod
So that
Johnson from
we had Mark on not too long ago, and he specifically showed using Spring AI to write a small application that would interface with LLMs and provide some functionality to the user. So regular viewers of our program have seen that part of what you're talking about already.
Yep. And then, getting back to code optimization
Hmm.
with data, like Project Valhalla, which we should start seeing some features being birthed out of that parent project very soon. Data optimization is mission critical to AI. And so, Babylon taking advantage of new GPUs. These
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
these are all things that we are not just thinking of, but are planning and working on in OpenJDK. And I keep drum beating this, but if you want to see the progress we're making, especially in how we're aligning our Java vision to AI initiatives, come to
Hmm.
OpenJDK, look at the work that we're doing in Panama, look at the work we're doing in Valhalla, look at the work we're doing in Babylon,
Hmm.
and that should give you just really good guidance in terms of just how well aligned Java's future is for not just AI, but the next 30 years and beyond.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes it can be intimidating for newcomers to join an established like development community where there are rules, written and unwritten, of engagement. Like if you want, no one wants to like go on like the Linux mailing list and try and submit a patch and get it wrong and be chewed out by like a big name like Torvalds or something. So if someone was interested, be like, man, I really wish Java had this. I want to contribute to an existing JEP. I want to propose a new JEP. I want to do something, and I don't want to commit a faux pas that I don't even like by breaking some rule of engagement that I don't even know exists. How could people dip their toe in and yeah,
What I would say is people are already dipping their toe.
yeah,
And how are they dipping their toe? I see it all too often. We all see it, even on the Java team. That fear disappears when you're online,
sure,
and so we get this. Why don't you just do X, Y, and Z? And so
yeah.
we get plenty of that on social.
Why don't
In
you just stop erasing types at runtime for templates? I
I
saw
mean,
a great article by one of the Java developers on that subject. Was like, okay, actually, I've been asked this 1,000 times.
yeah,
Here's why we erase types. Here's why we're probably not going to change that. Here's the alternatives and the implications of those. That if you actually had this, you might not. It might not be the thing you wanted it to be.
right. So I think we're getting plenty of the why don't you just from the
Yeah,
sheer organic nature of social. Like nary
yeah.
a day
The
doesn't go by
fundamental
where you can.
asymmetry of there being one of you and a billion people on the internet. Yeah,
Exactly. And so, Reddit, I mean, you go to you go to Reddit and it's like, why haven't you done this yet? And like, well, have you thought about the 10 million things we need to do to make that possible and what we would have to then maintain to make that possible and what we would then have to forego to keep that possible. So,
yeah,
but at the same time, it's also in good spirit that people are thinking about the why don't you justs, and we
yeah.
then try to be very thoughtful about those situations. But to your point, for people that don't necessarily want to either do it, on a social platform and hide behind a screen and maybe purposely be divisive, or go the formal route of going to OpenJDK, signing up for some sort of role and participating. One of the absolute tested methods to express opinion is to join a Java user group.
Hmm.
We recognize at least my last count was 330, 332, if I recall from last week's conversation.
It's quite a few.
There's 332 Java user groups around the world. So you probably are in proximity in your city, in your state, your province, your country to at least one or more Java user groups. We don't have one in Antarctica yet, so that's a stretch goal at some point. Maybe
I mean, there
for
are a lot of researchers down there. I mean,
yeah,
probably
but
some of them know Java. It might not be too crazy a stretch.
it's a great platform to have those types of discussions
Hmm.
because even though we're a small team and nimble team, we are listening. We go to watering holes. We're trying to understand what's being said. We have a great connection with user group leaders. They oftentimes bubble up opinions from their collectives into this side of the house. Um, and let's not forget something that you at Modern are doing,
Yeah.
conferences. The
Yeah.
hallway track, I think, is probably one of the Polar One. All right. Mark is proposing a conference in Antarctica called Polar One. Sam, I think you need to trademark that now so he doesn't get first rights at it, and we have to give him residuals.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but your conference experience in terms of the hallway tracks is actually a place to surface those types of ideas in somewhat of a more safer space because you now
Yeah.
have people who are engaged in conversation. And I think your conference is coming up in May of 2026. Your
That is
second,
that is correct,
okay?
and we, in addition to having kind of like the typical tracks of speakers talking about various subjects, we also have what we call the hack track, where both we and like the sponsors of the conference will just have engineers there to collaborate on using any of the technologies, many of which, including ours, are substantially open source. So anyone who wanted to meet with experts in a particular technology that is represented at that conference could go there and and actively collaborate on something, right there and then.
Yeah, I'm just going to give this a plug too, so my apologies, but we are bringing back Java 1 in 2026 again. We just
All
finished our
right.
2025 event. Hopefully we'll see Modern there, speaker, sponsor,
Yeah.
something, but the ethos of Java 1 has also been a developer first event. I know
Hmm.
your event is the same thing. I hope
Absolutely.
we can maybe collaborate on some co-presence at both.
Yeah.
But for
Absolutely.
the audience here, um, go to conferences, make the time when you can. I know it's still hard. We're still living after the effects of the pandemic. Conferences are catching their second wind in the US. I think it's already caught its second wind in other parts of the world, especially in EMEA.
Hmm.
It is absolutely one of the most priceless places where you will accelerate learning faster than things you can read online or watch online. It's actually a good complementary way of learning. And so I just encourage folks to get to events and then go ahead and share your opinions on why don't you just I'd be happy to have a conversation in that sort of a format.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's good advice. I think we're getting close to the end of our time. Are there any like last topics that you want to touch on? Anything that I should have asked you that I haven't yet? Any pet takes you want to get out there?
You didn't ask me about my two golden retrievers. That's okay. We can leave that for the next
Oh,
call.
puppies.
You didn't ask me to share my most embarrassing stage moment. We can save that for
Are you
for next.
also a thespian? Are you a musical theater kid?
Oh no, I'm just talking about my first on a stage time on stage being
Speaking at a conference,
at a
yeah.
conference. Like we can talk about that, but
Well, I mean, I opened this stream by naming myself Ham. Have you ever gone on stage and given and called yourself by the wrong name? Maybe
uh,
that's why you answer to anything, because you
uh,
like, oh, I've done it too, so I get it
uh,
if people.
I've been called every name in the book. I'll answer to anything. What I would tell your audience is, everyone who's watching, you if you're a Java developer, you've made a great career investment. We here at Oracle on the Java team are trying to ensure your career has longevity. We're trying to ensure the platform and the language stays productive for the next 30 years and beyond. We want to partner with you. We want to earn your trust. You can visit us at OpenJDK. You can collaborate with the Java developer relations team. You can meet us at meetups, at conferences, at user groups. Honestly, the relationship means more, and from that, we'll make better technology decisions. So, as it kind of says down there, community first, technology second. That's what I like to end with.
There you go. There you go. It's both something worth it's both something worth emphasizing and a I think an accurate description of how change actually happens. Right? It's rarely whether we're talking about technology or politics or just like how a company operates. Most real change comes out of community. Yeah.
Or favorite cars. I mean, the only right answer is Mustang, but maybe I can be persuaded.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for coming on, Shar. Look forward to seeing you at Code Remix Summit and maybe also Java One. We'll have to see about. I don't know if anyone from Moderna has submitted an RFP. I probably should if no one else has. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It's
Awesome.
been a pleasure to have you, and thank you everyone for watching. Until next week, where I haven't looked at our schedule, but I'm sure it'll be a great episode. So see you then. Bye for now.
Take care.